Wondering how you get around Prince Edward Island? We'll tell you about our experiences next. Hello and welcome to On the Move. We are Matt and Betsy, and we have recently relocated our family to the island of Prince Edward Island in Canada. And we'd love to tell you a little bit about our experiences as we explore and become new islanders. And today we're going to talk about the roads for you. When you come to the island, you might fly or you might drive on. There's two ways you can actually get on the island. You can drive over
well, three if you're going to say fly.
Well, that's true. You can drive over the Confederation Bridge, which is not as scary as it sounds.
Not at all.
You can take a ferry to get here. We have yet to experience that.
Yeah, we haven't done that one yet.
Or you can fly into Charlottetown as well. But even when you're here, the island's not small enough that you can see everything, certainly by foot. And there's public transit in Charlottetown, and there's public transit in Summerside as well. But you still need a vehicle to get around. So you're probably going to want to rent a car, or you're going to need some friends who are going to help you and drive you around.
If you want to be squished in a little tiny fit, you can drive with him. If you want nice leg room, you can drive with me in my truck.
It's not that squishy in the fit.
Go talk to the girls. They'll disagree.
Well, they're used to too much leg room.
Actually, we did quite a bit of traveling in the fit this summer because even I have to admit it is definitely more economical. Mm-hmm. And we got around with 4 people, basically all adult size for the most part, as well as 2 dogs that fit beautifully in the hatch of the fit. So I really can't make too much fun of it.
Yeah. So we've traveled, if you kind of split the island into thirds, there's the western third, there's the central third, and there's the eastern third of the island. We've done a fair bit of travel in that central third over the summer. And then myself now, for the first little while, I'm a teacher. And so the job that I found, it's on a good day, it's about an hour and 15 minutes drive. So I do a lot of driving these days. So we thought we'd give you some tips and tricks about what it's like to drive along the roads here.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Most of the roads, unless you're on the Trans-Canada Highway, are 2-lane. They do give you sometimes some passing lanes because we've discovered that PEI is much more hilly. Hilly? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Much more hilly than we anticipated, or I would have thought. I don't know that I thought a whole lot about it.
It's rare that you'll have actually just straight flat road.
Yeah, no.
You're driving coastlines, so you're twisting and turning around the coastline.
Rolling hills. We'll call it rolling hills. It's not mountainous or anything, but rolling hills, definitely.
Yeah.
And so I like it because it's much less chaotic and crazy from what we've been used to. And because we've chosen to live out in the country, I'm generally driving into town. And that trip doesn't involve very many stoplights at all.
So there's one local thing there. If somebody tells you they're going into town, that means they're going into Charlottetown. It's not like the local town that's near you. We have a town. It's a town, I would call it, called Montague, that's close to us. But no, if they say they're going into town, you're going into Charlottetown, the capital.
Yeah, which is really well equipped. So far, I don't think we've found anything that we can't really get. And if we can't get it, we don't need it, as one local told me.
Although we have, because we are outfitting a house, we have made use of some online platforms too.
Yes.
And I'm impressed because we're out in the country, but we can get things.
Pretty good service.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah. Now, the roads are good. Winter will likely be a different story on that.
We're curious to find out. So right now, roads are pretty smooth. They're clear, easygoing. We do cross a few that are probably, to our best guess, not real main roads. So we are curious to see what will happen with snow removal and that kind of thing come winter, especially Matthew, who has to travel to work. But part of that, owning the truck, if it's a need be, he can take the truck on that day and hopefully. If it's really bad, they also are great to respect the weather and their roads out here.
Yeah.
So our understanding is they're not going to put the kids on the buses on dangerous roads. Yeah. So schools will be closed if the weather is not decent.
Yeah. I would say there's kind of 4 classes of roads out here. There's like the major roads, like the Trans-Canada Highway, Veterans Memorial Highway, and Those ones are at least 2 lanes, anywhere, depending whether you're close to a little hamlet or town, from 50 up to 90 kilometers an hour. That would be the maximum here in.
Yeah, I don't think anything is marked above 90.
No, 90's it. And so there are 2 lanes, and then sometimes we've got passing 3, and rarely there's 4 lanes. There's like two going each direction on there. So those are your main roads.
Yeah. Oh, lots of roundabouts.
Yes.
Which for Ontario, we were, previously Ontarians. I don't think we have that many roundabouts out there.
No, they're rare
yet.
at this point.
But I like them. They are nice because you don't have to do a complete stop when you're coming up to them. There are some who I would say it makes them nervous because you'll get kind of 50-50 as you pull up to them. People who will stop and treat it more like a 4-way, and others who do roll kind of right through them. So you got to be cautious about who you're behind.
And you'll find those everywhere on all sorts of different, either from the main ones, lots on the Trans-Canada, as well as on some of the smaller ones too. So secondary highways, I would say they're still paved as well.
Yeah.
Going to be 2 lanes, reasonably well maintained.
Yeah,
although
they're patched. But
we understand, the frost does a number here, so roads do degrade reasonably quickly.
I'm not sure
it's asphalt.
I'm not sure there's anywhere in Canada that the frost doesn't affect it. Potholes and patched potholes are pretty common. So.
And then there's roads that I would still call reasonably main roads. People use them to get around, but they're dirt roads. And
we haven't been on too many of those.
Well, every now and then, like your brother was talking about, he was driving along and didn't realize a road he was about to come on. All of a sudden, was a dirt road.
Well, you can get like roads where they'll be paved, then there'll be a section of dirt, and then they'll return to paved
this
again.
Is true.
So
yeah, and the dirt, of course, it all has a red hue to it.
Beautiful.
Well.
It's beautiful red dirt. And when they call it a red dirt island, I always imagine they talked about their red sand beaches. I thought it was like just at the beach. No, there's a tinge to red of basically most of all the ground.
Yeah.
Soil.
Under the grass, anywhere, it's red.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So I would not drive on those roads when it's wet because they get like the mud around here. What is it called?
I don't know. I'm calling it PEI pudding.
Yeah, it has this kind of pudding-like texture to it when it gets wet. So I'm leery of the dirt roads when it's been raining a lot.
Yeah.
Of that sort. Sure. And you can certainly avoid them. There are other ways to get places. You don't have to take the dirt roads.
Yeah.
And then the 4th line is like the outback. There's not even really a sign on the road.
Oh, I don't think I've been on any of those yet.
Oh, well, a little bit. We have.
Maybe when we were up in like Cavendish area, kind of some of the
looking for some of the beaches and things.
Beaches.
You can sometimes hit those that.
Oh yeah, the ones that's right. We were at some that like it's cliffs. You need to stop or you will drive into the ocean.
Yeah, they're not exaggerating when they say, stay back from the edge.
But there's also not necessarily any guardrails up there or anything. You really do need to pay attention and not be driving recklessly when you're on those.
And I'm sure those are not serviced roads all year round. But
I
they are used, clearly. There are people who use them.
Well, I'm pretty sure cottage country. Cottages on them.
We had a total misunderstanding at first. So where we live, the property behind us, it's farmland, and there's a farmer who has a barn there. Very nice gentleman. You've had a number of conversations with him.
Yes.
And so we misunderstood him the first time we talked to him because people kept using the laneway beside us that went off into the field. We had no idea.
Nowhere. Few fields back.
Yeah, just drive into the field, and they don't really seem to come back. Where are people going with this? So we thought that he said to us that, well, the locals use this as a quick way to get to the ferry, which the direction didn't quite make sense to me. But anyway, we went with it. We believed it totally from him. Turns out we were wrong.
Totally wrong. He meant they use our actual main road as a shortcut to the ferry. And later on, a few days later, I met our neighbor who travels back there. She travels back those roads to take care of her blueberry fields, and she has honeybee hives back there. So it was her family who was going back taking care of end of harvest and what was going on. So the first kind of week we were here, it was well traveled. It's now slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah. What we've learned is fields aren't necessarily, the access to them isn't necessarily off of main roads. So sometimes there are these little back roads that take you to someone's field that is a couple of acres into the inland.
And you'll get folks who are renting fields that aren't necessarily on their property, so they might be coming in from the road with their vehicle and then going back and accessing their crops.
I think like many things here on the island, it's a little bit laid back in the way they treat these things, which we appreciate.
Absolutely.
We're trying to roll with it.
You have to tell them about our hill, because we have to show that.
Yeah, so There, and I'll show pictures here of it as well. Just around the corner from us, essentially, there's this hill that we discovered before we even bought this home. And you're driving up to it, and there's this strange sign. Like it essentially looks like your car is rocketing off the edge.
The top of this hill.
I've never seen a sign like this before driving. I've done a fair bit of driving.
In southwestern Ontario, there's not a lot of these hills.
So you're coming up to it, and I still haven't figured out. There is in the middle. They've blocked off a section of the road where you're not supposed to drive on it. It's a wider road, and they say don't drive on the middle. It must be some sort of safety precaution.
Yeah.
Anyways, you're going up the hill, and you get to the top, and it just keeps rolling. And
yeah.
There is no real top to the hill. It's a peak, and you just go right over it.
It's small enough you can feel you're going over the hill. Sometimes with the truck, it feels like your back end's still down one end as your front end's going.
Kind of like a roller coaster, over top of the one and down the other. Oh. So that's the hilliness of the...
We joked the first time we went on it when we had, we used to do foster care, and one of the little ones we hadn't, I don't think she'd done a lot of vehicle travel. And we were definitely like, this is a road she'd love. This would be a wee road, meaning that she'd be going, wee!
Yeah, like literally, she'd almost have her arms in the air.
She thought she was riding a roller coaster. So she would love this one. So I would love to have been able to show it to her.
Those of you in London, Ontario, Snake Hill is a steep, twisty road. And every time down that hill, she'd be, wee! As you drive down the hill.
So anyway, great fun on the roads out here.
Yeah, so if you come, be prepared to drive around, and really it is a beautiful place to drive. I continue to appreciate it. When I leave in the morning, I've got these beautiful sunrises with me, often when it's not raining, and then on the way home you get beautiful sunsets, and you've got ocean beside you at times. There's so much to see. Nice little villages too, often down, like one of my favorites that I drive through right now is Hunter River, which is a beautiful valley that you come into and back out of. Oh, one more thing too. I also appreciate they put, I don't know exactly what you call them, but they're signs that tell you your speed, like radar signs.
Oh, yeah, kind of, yeah. So because these little, you kind of come across what I would call hamlets.
And you might be on a major highway like the Trans-Canada where you're traveling 90, or sometimes people are traveling more than that on the road. And you have to slow down to like 50 or 60 kilometers an hour because you're coming into this little hamlet and there's kids there and shops and things. Yeah. So they tell you what you're traveling. And I think for most people, you can't help but actually make sure you slow your stuff. You can't ignore that when it shows you. You can't
ignore it, especially when there's someone in the back seat reading it who will start yelling, "It's lying! It's lying!" And we're like, no, it doesn't lie. We just need to slow down some more.
They do vary in their warning too. Some of them will flash a white light at you. Some will just be like yellow sign. Some will be a red sign.
Some are green when you're going the speed you should be. Yeah. And some are definitely red.
I thought one was harsh. I was like, the speed is 50 and I'm going 52, and so at 50 it's green, but at 52 it's red and flashing at you.
Wow, you're going too fast.
But so I appreciate having those, and especially we haven't changed over our license plates yet, so we stick out as Ontario license plates.
I really do want to get that done.
Soon. We'll have that done. But want to make sure that we're being very respectful and observing all the road safety rules.
Because you're basically labeled as a come from away.
Yeah.
On your back end.
Well, and some people will already want to judge you on that, so you don't want to have any more strikes against you for that as well.
Most are lovely, though.
So ultimately, come, have a friend, rent a car, drive yourself around. It really is not far, especially if you come from a larger community to get around. You can drive tip to tip. I think it's like 3.5 hours.
Maybe even less than that.
To get from tip to tip. If you're going, that's the long way from west to east or east to west. If you're going,
we haven't actually done that, so we don't actually know. We really have not been in the west at all.
No, I just started into the west where I work, but we haven't gone right up to the western tip yet, which is kind of northwest, really. Yeah. But if you're going north to south, like, it can be anywhere from minutes to an hour.
Well, we're living in what kind of would be the widest peak. So I was joking with a neighbor the other day that, this is interior PEI is where we live. So we do have some really nice, I don't know, for lack of a better word, bushes, as in like forests or treed areas around us.
But you're never more than 40 minutes maximum from the ocean.
Yeah.
And if you want to walk or bike, or even now parts of it, if you want to ride a horse on it, we have the
Confederation Trail.
Thank you, the Confederation Trail. And they mark it really well when it passes across any of the major highways. There's often parking spots there. The trail has a lot of benches on it. There's even often these little covered areas and information boards. You can have a picnic with it. We've only done a tiny bit of walking the trail. We definitely want to do more.
Absolutely want to do more. Yeah. We're getting just past mosquito season. So Sunday afternoons are a pleasant time now to go out and walk some of the trail.
And we're looking forward to, so right now it is, we're just coming up on the middle of September, and leaves are just starting to change for us.
I have a feeling looking out our back window, because we look over a couple of fields and then it's a very treed area, is going to be gorgeous. I can't wait.
Well, we both love fall.
Yes.
We both love the fall.
I can in the sense that I don't want it winter.
Yes.
But I wish it lasted a little longer.
So come, we'll drive you around, and we'll enjoy some of the PEI roads with you.
Absolutely.
So until next time,
Bye.